Hi, it's Caitlin from Caitlin Swatches, and I'm here with my July HHC swatch video. There are so many beautiful polishes this month. I only have a handful, maybe, if that, and the polishes that I have to show you are beautiful. And I will include everything you need to know about HHC down in the description, but if you want anything that you see here, it will be available July 14th through the 21st exclusively on the HHC website. And let's just get into it.
Let's start with Bee's Knees Lacquer, like I always do. This one is called Groovy, and it is their 5th polish in the Ice 9 Kills series, which is a band that the Bee's Knees team really loves. And this is inspired by the song called Ex Mortis. This one is described as a soft blue polish with strong gold to green shimmer. And if it's not already obvious, this polish is just so interesting to me. I really love the blue kind of base, which in some angles does read blue, but I think because of the shimmer, it also comes off a touch gray, or at least for my skin tone. And you'll also notice how strong the shimmer is. So this one is packed with shimmer. It definitely sort of has a ghostliness to it, as you're going to see shortly, but I will recommend building this one up in 3 coats because it is definitely sheer and you'll get pretty good coverage in 3 coats just because the shimmer is so strong. It kind of distracts from the nail line. I will also recommend glossy top coat, though this does dry down quite glossy on its own. So here it is with the top coat in 3 coats. This one is definitely shifty. You're getting gold and sort of yellow and obviously the green at more extreme angles. And this is just really interesting. As I said, the shimmer is so strong that you can't really see your nail line in certain lighting. The wildfire smoke was very strong when I filmed this, so it was kind of a weird day to show it off. I also wanted to show this polish as a topper because it is very evenly and it works beautifully over something like a black. As you see here, it really brings out the gold tones and sort of even a redness to it. So this is definitely a versatile polish. Next up we have Girly Bits because they will fix it. This one is part of her Marvelous Mrs. Maisel theme, and this one is described as a dusty mint crowley base loaded with orange shimmer, plus blue and turquoise green metallic flakes, and orange to gold color shifting iridescent flakes. So if it's not immediately obvious, this polish is so interesting. I personally would probably wear it in 1 coat. I really like how it came out in just 1 coat, but obviously if you build it up in 2, you're going to see much more of that dusty mint crowley base. And there's something about this that reminds me of candy. I don't know what it is, but it kind of looks really appealing and sweet. So don't lick it or eat it, but I really like how this one looks on the nail. And I thought it gave really good coverage in 2 coats. Personally, obviously, I barely have any visible nail line at the time that I swatched this, but I think it covered really well. It dried quickly in between coats, and it does dry dull, so definitely use a glossy top coat. It won't really be difficult to remove. The flakes come off easily. And this is one that shifts around a lot. I love those larger flakes. They're kind of fun that are on my nail. And this one is kind of almost neutral on me. It just has a lot going on, but it also comes together really nicely and is almost subtle depending on how you catch it, which maybe others won't agree with, but I think this is just a beautiful, beautiful polish. Moving along, we have Paint It Pretty Polish Don't Call Me Doll, and this one is part of their new Looney Tunes theme, which recently started. If it didn't start for this week or for this month first, I'm just trying to remember. It might have started in June, but I digress. This one is inspired by Lola Bunny, and Don't Call Me Doll is described as a purple-based shimmer polish that shifts through pink, orange, gold, and green. And this one is a really nice shade of purple. It builds up really nicely, and it is on the sheer side, but that just allows the shimmer to show up really, really well. It dries quickly in between coats, but I will recommend building it up in 3 to get mostly opaque. There is a ton of shimmer, so anything you see under these very bright swatch lights, you're not really going to be able to see in any other daily situation. So for the most part, it covers the nail line completely. And this also dries down just a tiny, tiny bit dull, so I will recommend glossy top coat like I always do. It will be super easy to remove. I didn't experience any staining or anything like that. And in a second, you're going to see the many different shifts that are visible in this polish. So if you love purples, then I think you'll find this one quite beautiful. Hopefully you can see the green and the gold there. I'm definitely picking up a lot of pink pretty much at any given angle, and here you can definitely see the green, the orange, the gold. It's all there. The shimmer adds a nice sparkle under direct lighting or under sun, and it's just a really beautiful shade of purple. Here we have Rogue Lacquer Break the Spell, and this is a continuation of their series inspired by Beauty and the Beast. And this one is a bright blue Crelly with hollow flake and scattered red/copper gold color shifting flakes. So this one is just a really beautiful sort of aquamarine blue or ultramarine blue, and it goes on really easily and it dries very quickly. So I am building this one up just to get the base more opaque so that it's just as bright a blue as possible, because I do love bright blues, and I think this is a really beautiful shade of blue in particular. You definitely will want 3 coats for this one, and there aren't a ton of those red, copper, gold shifting flakes. They're kind of sparse, but I think that works well with the theme and the inspiration, which is kind of like the rose in the jar in Beauty and the Beast, I'm thinking. So you can see it here in 3 coats. You'll definitely want a glossy top coat to give this as much of a squishy jelly look as possible, and I think it looks perfect when you add that glossy top coat. It just kind of brightens up the blue versus leaving it dried down on its own. So this is like not a polish that I think would look good matte. And here you can see what I mean about how bright it is and how those little sparse flakes are kind of like the rose petals. So it's a really nice interpretation of the theme. And last but not least, we have Cuticula Dreamlight, and Cuticula is back to HHC, and I believe it is for a new Disney Dreamlight Valley theme that they're starting, which is a game. I feel like it's probably like Animal Crossing, but featuring Disney characters, maybe. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm just making that up. So this one is a holographic flake base with pink to gold to green shimmer, yellow to purple to pink to green large particle shimmer, pink to gold to green small iridescent flakes, and small pink to purple glass flakes. So this one builds up really nicely in 2 coats. You could leave it in 2, but I just wanted to go in and add a little bit more on the 3rd coat. This one applies really easily, dries quickly between coats, but it does dry down just a touch dull, so I will recommend glossy top coat. And this one does have a ton of shifts. It also has the beautiful hollow in it, so it just kind of has a little bit of everything, and it definitely gives off a really cool metallic effect to the nail. And here, hopefully you can see what I mean about like the metallic-ness to it. It also kind of is a little pearly. It's just really interesting, and the color shifts are very strong, which I always find very entertaining. It won't be difficult to remove at all, and obviously there was no issue with staining with this one because the pigment isn't there to cause any sort of staining. And hopefully you can see what I mean about the color shifts in this one and get a sense of the hollow even though the sun wasn't out.
It's hard for me to pick favorites, but I will say that I super duper love the Bee's Knees lacquer. I just love polishes, which honestly are kind of rare, like that have the semi-sheer base, but tons of pigment that's shimmery. It just creates this really interesting finish on the nail, and I love that it's also versatile enough that you could layer it. I do also think that the Girly Bits is really pretty. It's really unique, and I don't have anything like that in my collection, so I did really like that one. So I will do that. Let me know in the comments which of these polishes you're most excited about picking up. Let me know what else you're planning on adding to your wish list, and I hope you have a great day wherever you are. Bye!